There we go. We are live. Let me get it pulled up.
Cool.
All right, cool. Ready? All right. Well, welcome back to this week's recap. Yeah, it's only Monday, right? Jesus, it's only Monday. Welcome back to the recap this week. We got OSU just coming off of not OSU, Texas Tech coming off of a dominant win over OSU. Sam's already killing me. But speaking of which, we'll introduce everybody while we're at it. We got me, top left corner, AJ Douglas, JT Deloach, over at the top right, enjoying his food over there. Mason Pierce down the bottom left, and then we got Sam Ulrich joining us. Was not able to join us last week, but glad to have him this week. Don't know if he knows he's on mute. Let's see.
I do.
Oh, okay, cool. Just making sure.
I'm very interested in this D3 basketball game. I don't want to get too loud.
No, you're good. But yeah, wanted to welcome back Sam. Well, like I said, wasn't able to join us last week. Missed the whole tortilla talk. But like we said before, we kind of had his gist from what he said in the group chat that we all have and what we all say. So overall, I think boys are happy. Tortilla ban at the start of the season, first introduction of how that was going to look this season. I think Texas Tech responded perfectly and got a kickoff return touchdown to start the game. And anybody want to open up with the Texas Tech versus OSU game and how that experience was, especially the losing of the tradition, the oldest tradition that we've had of 30 years. It's now gone.
I mean, if we get a kickoff return for a touchdown every opening kickoff without the tortillas, I'm fine with it.
100%. 100%.
Yeah. No, I really wasn't pleased with the game. If I'm being honest with you. Our first string didn't get a single sack. Our third string was the one that got the sack. Offense. That's a whole nother. I don't want to say what I'm gonna say.
Do it. Come on.
Special teams play good, other than the kickers. But I mean,
yeah,
I don't know.
Missed a PAT early in the game,
and a field goal, which Stone normally hits. But no, I mean, a win's a win, right?
Yeah.
And, it's a shutout, so I mean, I can't be too mad at the defense, but I felt like for the ASU game and this OSU game specifically, our linebacker core is the only one that plays with like any true grit and heart.
Yeah.
24/7. If the whole defense was like that, nothing would get past them. And then the offense is just I don't know with some of these play calls. I don't know with our receivers right now. We're dropping passes like. Reggie had 5 steps on a DB and let a ball go right through his hands that would have been a touchdown. And you don't get deep ball opportunities of 40 yards or more at all in games, really. We got to capitalize more on that. But again, a win's a win. The atmosphere was honestly pretty pathetic, in my opinion.
Yeah, even the rated power at the start was very dead.
Yeah, that weather delay was so pointless. But I don't think that help matters. And I also think Parents' Weekend and like people would rather go to the bars and watch it with their family. Which again, why even come if you're not going to go to the game? Honestly, it really should have been a packed house, and it really should have been everyone there for like the redemption game. But honestly, like I'd give the game a 6 out of 10. It really was nothing special in my opinion. But a win's a win.
Yeah.
First shutout since 2005.
2005.
It was Baylor, and it was 28-0.
Man,
yeah,
what's up?
I basically agreed with JT. JT kind of said the same thing that a lot of us were saying. Offense kind of you look at 42 points. However, Jacob Rodriguez gave you 7, and Jacoby Williams gave you 7 to start the game. So take away 14 points. Your offense gave you a total of 28 on a team that's not really that good of OSU. They've been struggling all season. Can't afford to have that bad of a performance. And I think it's very crucial going into Manhattan to have Barron back.
Yeah, thankfully he is back.
Yep.
Biggest thing. Obviously today got announced that he will be starting on Saturday, which we need but desperately. One thing I want to add, because obviously y'all pretty much covered it, so I'm not going to drag it on more than we need to, because I mean this was a pretty boring game for the most part.
Yeah.
The O-line, I don't understand how OSU's D-line, which mind you, their top two guys are already pretty much hitting the portal. One of them's injured. You know, that very depleted defense in general. And we're not getting any type of separation from receivers. We're barely being able to give our quarterback enough time to drop back. And I know most of our O-line is healthy for the most part, maybe except one position or so, which may be guard, I think. I don't know. I didn't really look at the injury report. I think it was guard. because I know Zambrano was banged up. But I mean, this was a game this was really a tune-up game for the offense. This was a confidence boost. This was supposed to be a confidence boost for Will. Now, no fault to his own. Obviously, he's out for the year now with the ACL. Wishing him the best in terms of recovery. But I mean, watching this game, we looked more confident with Mitch than we did Will. I mean, if you look at the stats purely, you're going to go, well, Mitch wasn't that great, right? They gave him a QBR of 28, even though he went 9 for 13 for 172 yards passing and a touchdown, averaging about 13 a throw. So, I mean, once again, we're getting pretty thin towards the end of the season. This kind of feels like another familiar trend that we've seen the past few years where depth is starting to kind of get depleted. We had one of our DBs is currently a temporary running back right now, and Oliver Miles. So I just, coming out of this game, I feel less confident than I did coming in. I thought we were going to leave this with a little bit more confidence. And JT, I'm glad you pointed out the no sacks by our starting D line at all.
Yeah.
That really shocked me because I thought David Bailey was going to have a monster day. Maybe it's the current lawsuit that's going on against him that may have him a little bit distracted, but we'll keep all that out of this. But yeah, overall, if you're a Tech fan and going into this week, I think our stars, we got Barron back, but there's a lot of things outside of Barron that need to be fixed. And, play calling is a major one, and drops, man. Drops are so unnecessary. JT mentioned Reggie Virgil, and then, you had Caleb Douglas, who dropped at least 2. I mean, he dropped at least 2, if I remember correctly. And then, not to mention, too, Terrence Carter's still banged up and is doubtful for this week at K-State still.
Yeah.
So that's not a great sign to see either, considering that kind of eliminates a lot of play-action stuff. But yeah, I mean, a win's a win, obviously, and glad we at least got a shutout, so defense clutched up. But overall, we got a big week coming ahead of us. Sam, what were some of your thoughts?
Yeah, I have a little more optimistic outlook than y'all do. I really wasn't surprised that the D-line wasn't able to get some sacks because, the Oklahoma State quarterback, the system they had set up for him was going to get the ball out as quick as possible, and if you don't, just run around and don't get caught. So, yeah, obviously I would have loved to see David Bailey get some sacks, but the fact that he had, 3 against Kansas and then 2 the week before, I'm not really concerned there. And then he really didn't play much of the second half when the game was already out of hand. And I do think that when, Morton coming back this week, I think that is huge. When you have a whole offseason, you kind of build the whole system around Morton. And so I think Mac really didn't have a whole system prepared for Will. And we obviously saw that in the Arizona State game where the not the greatest play calling. And then again, when third stringer comes in, Griffiths is kind of close to Barron. He's a little more, I guess, mobile, but getting Barron back, I think we'll see the offense flourish a little bit more. But the drops are something that is definitely concerning me. That add on to JT, Coy makes most of the plays, but it's Reggie and Douglas that are kind of the concern. And hopefully we can get Terrence back soon.
Yeah.
I'm not really concerned about the defense. I think it's more of an execution thing when it comes to the offense. But they've been able to contain mobile quarterbacks all year, which is something Tech has not done well in the past. So the fact that they were able to shut down Jalen Daniels and get your most sacks franchise history that's more optimizing to me. So
For sure. Oh man.
Yeah, I just that's a good point. With the mobile quarterback and the whole system and everything. I don't know. I mean, I'm not worried about the D-line. It kind of speaks volumes when you're this hyped up, supposed top 5, top 10 level D, and we're playing OSU, who is statistically the worst defense, and then the defense, like they play well. They pitch a shutout. I just want more pressure. And obviously, Sam, you brought up a good point. Like their whole scheme was to just run around in the backfield and throw the ball out of bounds, like as soon as a defensive lineman or an edge rusher or linebacker got near them. But no, I mean, there's definitely stuff to build on, and that's a good point about Barron being back, especially for Kansas State. This is gonna be huge. This is a way bigger game than what people are gonna take it for. Avery Johnson killed us 2 years ago, and I'm hoping he doesn't have a career day. And that was here. I was in Lubbock,
Yes.
and with 2 Manhattan, same guy. If I'm Joey in the locker room right now, I'm showing them clips of his career day every single day until they understand what they're going up against. Because I remember watching that game. I think I was a senior in high school. I was watching that game, and I was about to throw something at the TV. His first ever start, and he ran for 260 yards on. He ran for 260 yards on us and 4 touchdowns. So that's kind of what I wanted to see this week with Oklahoma State was you're playing a lesser opponent with a mobile quarterback. Can you finish the job on him? Can you get to him? And obviously we got pressures. We got a lot of pressure. That's not my issue. It's just can you finish the job before he throws it away? And can we get those negative plays back that we were getting at the beginning of the season that we got against Kansas? We had 9 sacks against Kansas. And that's in a way better team, a way more mobile quarterback in Jalen Daniels. And I wanted to see this week. I want to see us bounce back because we played terrible against Leavitt. Hats off to Houston. And for all the Arizona State fans complaining that wasn't roughing the kicker, the dude that roughed them was offsides anyway. So y'all can bitch about it all you want. But no, I wanted to see our D-line step up and get some more sacks because this should have been a stat pattern for them. And obviously that quarterback just constantly rolling out didn't help. But this should have been a stat pad game for them. And the fact that it wasn't, yet we still did pitch a shutout. That's honestly, and Sam, again, I'm glad you brought that up. That's honestly more impressive that we didn't get to the quarterback and still pitch a shutout. And now that you just put a whole spin on it. Now that I think about it, that's actually more impressive. But still, I mean,
yeah, because every time it just seemed like he would roll out.
Yeah, he would roll out.
A lot of the plays were kind of like screens and stuff.
Yeah, he did the throw out of bounds, an absolute mallard down the field.
Just to give y'all a little bit of
No, you're good.
No, I was about to say, kind of explain why they had that game scheme. So Sam coming out of the quarterback that we played, Sam Jackson, when he was coming out of high school, 4-star dude, whatever, played QB at TCU, then Cal, and then he switched to receiver during the 24 season. So this was like the first time he's played QB in 2 years. And obviously it showed with a lot of his passes, like you said, JT. They were kind of just like, it was either going to be completely out of bounds or it was just going to be a complete overthrow his head, which, I mean, he went 9 for 19, got benched like twice in this game. So, and one thing I do want to at least give props on the defensive side of the ball was the DBs. They finally had one of their actually really solid games on, first string, second string, and even third string towards the end of the game. It looked like they progressed a little bit considering all the other aspects we've been talking about. And, I am glad, Sam, you talked about that with, Sam being a mobile QB. And pretty much his job this whole game was just to get at least a yard and just run for your life because you're not going to be able to sit back and pass with how good our D-line is. So, but yeah, I mean, it was an interesting game. I don't know. It didn't really kind of felt like a fever dream game almost. It was just one of those fillers. You really won't remember it in 4 weeks from now. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I mean, a win's a win. I'm not going to complain anymore, but definitely got to improve at least starting off the games on offense, especially this weekend.
One thing I do want to ask y'all boys about is looking at the stats here. I'll pull them up on the screen. Dickey was our lead rusher with 47 yards. Why are we not using Dickey more, especially after the Kansas game? I mean, I get it's only 2 games, and we didn't need him much last week versus OSU. But, I mean, with how stagnant our offense did look, I think getting the run game established maybe early in the game would have been better.
I agree with you, and that's the problem. We love hurting our quarterbacks. That's a Tech staple for the past 10 years. We love hurting our quarterbacks. We love running our quarterbacks until they die. That's like when you have two perfectly good running backs, three perfectly good running backs with Adam Hill in the backfield that you can just run smash mouth. And we saw it against Kansas. We barely. I think Morton ran the ball twice against Kansas, and look what happened. Like we love injuring our quarterbacks. I think that's the thing.
Yeah, JC, I'm glad you brought up Adam Hill. What happened after the Kent State game? Does he get injured or something that I'm missing?
They gave
Because he looked
5 carries for 5 yards
and
1 yard per.
Like he's not going to burn you with speed, but he's a really good physical back and somebody that could give a lot of like carries off for Cam and keep him healthy. You saw what up, JC?
Reminds me of Ezekiel Elliott, kind of.
I mean he's not a barn bust. Like he's not gonna give you a 4-5, but at least he'll for sure get you an easy 3rd and 1 conversion. I mean he's a big bodied back, which is what we need.
A guy that's gonna be hard to tackle.
Yeah, I mean, we currently have 2 backs that are really good, in the receiving game and also running the ball, obviously. But, it's a guy that we utilized early on and then quit utilizing. And, I'm glad we're looking at stats right now because apparently Micah Hudson had more receiving yards than Reggie Virgil in this game. Yeah. So that's a good little stat bit for everybody in case you were curious. Wow, I didn't realize that at all.
Yeah.
I believe he also.
That's concerning.
Drew at least 1 pass interference penalty.
Yeah.
I think. Yeah. You gotta just incorporate him a little bit more in the offense, especially if these guys are having some drop issues. Like he's a 5-star for a reason.
Yeah, I mean, no, I agree with you, Sam. It was kind of we brought him back from A&M to contribute, right? Like it wasn't just to have him playing kick return the whole season, especially after all the red shirt stuff that happened last season and all that controversy and whatnot. But yeah, definitely, this was a game of time for sure. It was a game we'll definitely not remember. But anyway, AJ, let me get back to you.
Yeah. What we think about Griffith's touchdown celebration?
That boy got motion. I mean, it was. I mean, considering he's like 35 years old, I mean, I respect it.
Yeah. Also, real fast, before we move on, breaking news for Tech fans, if y'all haven't seen the news, Mac McClung signed by the Indiana Pacers to a multi-year deal, according to Greg Lawrence of the Washington Sports Group. So, shout out Mac McClung. I'm glad you're finally on the team and getting the chance that you deserve. We're all McClung fans here. I don't think a single one of us dislikes him here at Tech. I know he was only here for a year, but he did great things for this program. So shout out to him and congrats on making the roster for the Indiana Pacers.
Yep.
Yep.
So yeah, I think going back just on the game, I think we all kind of agreed. Glad that we won. Not the way any of us predicted the win going though. But I think we'll move on from that. Any of the games of the week last week y'all want to talk about? I know which one I want to talk about, but I'll let somebody else go first. Whoever wants to talk about it, a win or a loss coming up. I'll leave the door open to somebody.
Honestly, there really wasn't that many that stood out to me. I know, AJ, you're going to talk about Vanderbilt.
Yep.
I think if Fibula or whatever didn't get injured, I think it's a whole different game. But that's just my take.
Okay. It's fair. It's fair. If you lose, and I will stand by it. If you lose by your quarterback, it's a whole different ball game.
And their backup played amazing though. Their backup played amazing for Mizzou. There's hope there for the rest of the season. I'm gonna go with the UNC Virginia game. That was really kind of my super dog pick. Close game all throughout. Both defenses played elite, honestly. UNC's defense looked like a national championship contender defense against Virginia, which I'm not being biased. Like, they really did. They got good pressure. They got pass breakups. They got interceptions, turnovers, everything you can ask, and they gave their offense a chance to win. The offense did not perform. Gio Lopez, I think, needs to not be the starter for them anymore. But no, UNC was what 4 inches from winning that game, and it was a gutsy call from Bill to go for two and the win at the end. But when you're in desperate times, you take desperate play calling, and they needed that win. It would have been a signature win, and they played really well. So I think I think he's slowly, methodically getting into that college feel and adapting to the college game and that UNC program itself. And I don't think they need to get rid of him just yet. They played a really good Virginia team, really close, and they should be proud of themselves. So Virginia, I think, has a lot to worry about, though, with that performance.
Yeah, I agree. That game kind of threw me off. I remember we were at the game, JT, and he kept giving me little updates, and I was like thrown off because I expected, considering the way Virginia had played the past few weeks. They haven't really had a crazy schedule. Outside of probably that Florida State win, which now doesn't really look like much anymore, considering Florida State lost at Stanford. So, but yeah, the only thing with Bill is he's already been kind of getting prepared for college even before he signed to North Carolina. Shout out Jordan Hudson. But anyway, we'll move on to. I'll talk about my little game of the week. Texas at Mississippi State. Can we talk about what a choke job the Bulldogs had? Like, they were up. Let me do a little math real quick because I don't remember exactly. Going into the fourth quarter, it was 31-14. 31-14 in Starkville. Arizona State had already lost there early on in the season. Looked like pretty much a guaranteed win for Mississippi State. And then Sarkisian kicked in his overdrive, and that offense just went insane. Defense did their thing. I don't really want to give any praise to UT because I think they still suck, but they came back and they ended up coming. They ended up winning in OT. Arch Manning got a nasty concussion, but I'm still not buying into the Texas hype. Mississippi State is currently 0-4 in the SEC, so I'm not gonna really applaud them for that. But Sam, what was your game of the week?
Real quick on that, Sam, real fast. The call that I think changed that game was the roughing the passer call that they gave Arch. I think that was absolutely terrible. Absolutely terrible. It set Texas on momentum to go and win. And I think it was ridiculous. It was a terrible call.
See, I wish
the dude bumped.
Yeah.
See, so here's the thing. They called Arch defenseless. He was outside the pocket running. He had thrown the ball, but as he threw the ball, he got bumped. He didn't get finished on the tackle. Nothing. He got bumped and he fell. And he's outside the tackles. He's not defenseless.
I agree.
Roughing the passer.
Yeah, I think that's one thing that needs to be addressed, especially after the season, and something that NCAA needs to be more thorough in explaining is what is roughing the passer. Because, what is the defender supposed to do when you're going to sack the QB and you can't see he's throwing the football? So all you know is that he still has it, right? And like you said, JT, simply just pushing the QB right as he's throwing the ball. You can't just let him throw the football. That's literally how football works. You're supposed to prevent the ball from moving forward. So, anyway, but yeah, Sam, I'll let you talk.
Yeah, there's two games I was staying with in the Big 12. It would be either the Arizona State Houston game or the Iowa State BYU game, which I thought BYU. We were at the game when that game was going on, so I was just following on my phone, and BYU they were down double digits and find ways to win. And as a Tech fan, that gives me a little bit more hope that we can actually beat this BYU team, because is BYU's best win Utah at home? You compared BYU and Tech's resume, beat Utah by 20-plus points at Utah. And you look at BYU's resume, win to overtime against Arizona. They had a pretty weak non-con. It's comparable to Tech's, but they had a close game with Wyoming in that first half. And their Big 12 play has not been comparable to ours. They haven't played Houston. They got to play Utah at home, and they got to play that Utah that played Arizona State. So they've just gotten to play some of the bottom of the barrel Big 12 teams, and Tech hasn't had that luxury. They've had to play, undefeated Houston besides our game, and we've had to play a ranked Utah team, because I saw the thing today that Tech's, tied for second in ranked wins of teams that are ranked now. Alabama has 4 apparently, which is ridiculous, and then we're tied with another team that has 2 ranked wins. So as a Tech's battle tested, which I don't know how Houston keep finding ways to win. Like they don't look like a very good team whenever we play them, but I just think that shows that Tech really could be that elite team if they do win out in the Big 12. And we win out in the Big 12, we get a spot in the Big 12 championship. So I like the fact that we control our own destiny. Houston beating Arizona State helped us there.
Yeah, and I think all of y'all kind of know where I was going to go, and I think JT kind of touched up on it. Backup quarterback came in from Mizzou, but glad to see Vandy with the win, getting ranked inside the top 10, which I think is a good segue to move us into our top 25 talks. Let's see. I've got Vandy at 9. That's my favorite. But we got looking at the rankings. I'm pulling it up on the screen real quick for us. See, so
Notre Dame ahead of us is just
leading it
Yeah,
off.
right now I don't.
It's
yeah.
still your Buckeyes, the Ohio State Buckeyes, leading it off.
Give me Indiana.
Okay.
Give me Indiana.
Yeah, I knew that was going to happen. That's why I wanted to set it up, because I knew you wanted to talk
give me the
about
Hoosiers.
Indiana's win.
They've earned my
Yeah.
respect. All right,
I knew what you,
they've earned my respect.
and like I said, you and me were talking because we were watching that before the Tech game. We were watching the Indiana game, and you were saying the
Yeah.
exact same thing, and I knew that's why I wanted to segue that into the way I did, because I think you have some things that you could say about the Indiana team over my Buckeyes.
Man, I think the top 3 is fair. Obviously, Ohio State hasn't really had any moments of weakness. Indiana, you could say the same. A&M really surprised me. I know LSU obviously ended up firing Brian Kelly today, but yeah, I think overall the list is pretty fair. I'd have to agree with JT though right now with Notre Dame. I think with our resume compared to theirs, currently their quality losses are beating our quality wins, which I don't think is fair by any means, because especially now with Miami pretty much struggling against Stanford until about the 3rd or 4th quarter, that game really doesn't look as great as it does. And, once again, it's all a matter of perspective, because you could, go back to that time frame when they did play and say, well, it was a good quality loss. But, I don't know. I would definitely have to put at least Tech 12, Notre Dame 13. If I had a perfect world, that's how it would be. But obviously, I'm not an AP voter. I didn't get invited, so that's why I'll stay, around what we're doing right now.
I gotta agree with the comment that was just put in. Get yourself a girl that loves you even half as much as AJ loves Vandy. Yeah, no, that's fair.
Man, I didn't know we had interactive viewers. That's great.
Yeah. We got the whole crew joined in. Freaking Gavin said, Gavin Lewis, top commenter right now.
Georgia Tech needs to be top 5.
Whoa.
Okay.
Whoa. Yeah, okay, I know.
Okay.
Look, JC, I love you, and I'm glad that Georgia Tech's doing good, but we've got to look at their resume. They beat Wake Forest by 1. They beat Virginia Tech by 15 at home. They beat Duke by 9.
Yet they have only played one ranked opponent, and that was Clemson. And Clemson's no longer ranked.
It's all about perspective, though, too, because, both sides are right, you know what I mean? I can't – because they've done everything – hey, they're what? They're 8-0.
Yeah. They haven't lost yet.
They deserve to be ranked above us, in my opinion. But I wouldn't put them above an Oregon or a Georgia or a, that's my opinion.
Georgia Tech is playing at home this year against Georgia, and Georgia Tech is winning that game. Y'all laugh now.
What?
Huh?
Look what happened last year.
I love you. I can't.
I'm going Georgia.
Last year was a way worse Georgia Tech team, and look what happened.
Hold on. Don't they play? They played last week, don't they?
Georgia.
Yeah. I don't know.
No.
I could see it happening. The way the season's gone.
It was a better Georgia Tech team. It's the cards are literally laid out perfectly. Georgia Tech beats Georgia this year at home.
But I
telling
mean,
you what-
Georgia did just beat Ole Miss, which Ole Miss looks currently like, I would say pretty. I mean, I know the game's not in Athens, so that definitely, but also I wouldn't really say, Dodge Stadium's really an intimidating place to play, considering also
it will
Georgia
be
fans
for
are
that
going
game. And that's what I'm saying. I
Yeah.
look.
Where
It's
does Sam
fair.
go?
It's fair to not like the take. I understand it, right? But
No,
I potentially will be able to watch Georgia Tech this weekend at NC State. I might go to that game if I have extra tickets for my buddies. I'm going. But
I think it'll be a
will
fun
potentially
game, to be honest.
Oh my god, it's a
Yeah.
night game. It's a blackout in Carter Finley, which I think we need to talk about because blackouts in Carter Finley are very hard to win.
You think, I mean, could you see Georgia Tech getting upset in that game? I mean, I know NC State's been not great by any means,
No,
but do you,
I
like, you don't see, yeah.
I really don't, especially because I don't know the status of Justin Jolie, one of their better receivers. He got injured against the last game. I don't know the status of him. Noah Rogers has been playing kind of under the radar. Hollywood Smothers is a great back, and then CJ Bailey obviously has the height and the throw power. Georgia Tech's defense doesn't get talked about enough. I don't think. I think they're a very stout defense, but also this AP poll. I'm going away from Georgia Tech. I could talk for hours. I think JMU needs to be ranked. The Dukes are one team that is not talked about at all for that Group of 5 spot, and currently I think they get it.
Hey,
the remaining schedule they have.
Do you want to give some love to the MAC conference? They had a very interesting week going on. Buffalo gets upsetted by Akron Zips, the best team in the MAC, completely the best team that they had.
3-2.
Buffalo loses to Akron. Akron, who can't even be bowl eligible because of academics this season. Which leaves the door wide open for Miami of Ohio versus Western Michigan, which that was a good game, and leads to Miami taking the lead in the standings in the MAC right now.
What'd you say, JT?
Wasn't the final score of the Buffalo game 3-2?
No. I think that was at halftime.
Was.
I think the final score was
20. It was
24-16.
It's 24-16. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it was at Buffalo. Damn. Well.
It was 3-2 at half.
First quarter. End of the first quarter.
No.
Yeah. Because Buffalo scored 8 in the second quarter. But yeah, no, giving some love to the MAC. I followed that one just jokingly because of Bowling Green and Kent State. And I was just like, I wonder who's going to lead the MAC. And I look, and Buffalo gets upset by Akron out of all teams. So
I'm noticing again a theme. There's another theme between 14 through 16 that doesn't add up to me with the rankings. I mentioned this last week. I saw another post on it this week about how the whole Tennessee through Louisville rankings don't make sense. I forgot who posted it. I forgot what it was about, but there was something about Tennessee. It's the ranks 14 through 16. It's those teams that are like not aligned properly. I saw a post about it today, and I really want to go find it. But there's something about like losses and like who they beat, and it's something like that.
It's fair because I'm looking. They got Miami. Louisville beat Miami, who was ranked 2 at the time, but they just seem to be dropping. Only problem is Virginia won, and so how are you going to put a team that lost to the team above them?
I don't understand how Virginia didn't drop though, because no offense to UNC, JT, but we're gonna to be realistic. Yeah, to be realistic, if Miami dropped and they beat Stanford by however many they did, I feel like Virginia should at least drop by about 3 or 4, considering that they lost to a team that, to be honest, their head coach could have been fired at any point. You know what I mean? And they're obviously struggling, a lot of growing pains, but yeah, I agree though.
I found the post. So similar situation to last week. What is this AP poll doing? Tennessee 2 losses to Mississippi. Best win is Mississippi State, who is winless in SEC play. Virginia 1 loss. Best win is against Louisville, who they are above, which is correct, right?
Yeah.
And then Louisville 1 loss. Best win is against Miami. Tennessee's only resume accomplishment is losing to both teams ranked that they've played, and they're being rewarded. And then it says they're being commended for missing the field goal choking versus Georgia and throwing a pick 6 and losing by 17 to Alabama, while Virginia and Louisville are rewarded less for beating ranked opponents.
And I can
You know,
okay, I
man,
can
that
see
is-
Tennessee
yeah,
being dropped.
that
Tennessee's in the SEC. They're automatically going to get this treatment no matter what.
Also, I saw this post about Oregon and Texas Tech.
I told AJ about that last night, dude.
Mm-hmm.
If you break it down,
Yes. Makes it. Number 6 Oregon beat 5-3 Northwestern on the road. Beat 3-4 Penn State on the road. Lost by 10 at home to Indiana. Now that Indiana loss is not bad, right? Not awful.
Yeah.
Texas Tech crushed number 22 Houston on the road. Crushed 24 Louisville on the road by 20 or Utah on the road by 24. Lost by 4 with a backup QB on the road to ASU. Oregon beat Oregon State by 34. Tech beat Oregon State by 31. Why is Oregon 7 spots higher than Texas Tech now? What do we think?
Yeah, I had literally pointed. I'm glad you pointed out that post because I was going to say it if you didn't, JT. So props to you for being a degenerate like me and constantly seeing stuff like that. I agree. I mean, if we're gonna, because they use that in favor of the SEC all the time, right? Is their ranked wins, But now that it's the ACC and the Big 12, and they actually are having ranked wins, and then you look at Oregon's best win right now, which was on the road at Penn State, which at the time was a really good win, and I'm not going to discredit it because they pretty much were the reason that everything just went to crap with Penn State. But, outside of that, they beat Wisconsin at home by, 14? So,
Well, again, backup quarterback.
Yeah, I get that. And I know Dante Moore went out with injury.
We're playing with a backup quarterback as well.
That's what I'm saying. Like, you got to use the same logic for everybody. It can't just be like but it's Oregon, right? Or, but it's Bam, because
now the whole argument becomes we're now rewarding quality losses over wins.
Exactly. Well, that's why I said with Notre Dame. No offense to them, but you can't look at our resume and look at theirs. And yes, I get their 2 losses were against decent teams, right? But you can't use that and justify them being ahead of a team that's dominated the entire season. And, the USC win really doesn't mean anything. I have no confidence in USC whatsoever. The fact that they're 23 right now and they lost, and they're coming off a bye week and they somehow, I think, only moved down 3. They looked. I didn't really watch that Notre Dame USC game that much, but just from looking at stats and everything, didn't seem that impressive. But
I'll say
we'll wait and see.
I will say the same thing I told Mason when that came out, though, and that's my devil's advocate because we always have to have a devil's advocate.
What, AJ?
I said I'm going to say the same thing I told you when you first brought that up to me. The week that's getting announced is the same week we win over OSU, and the only con to that was you and me looked each other straight in the eye, and I said, would you have us ranked any higher, not looking at anybody else's resumes, would you have us ranked any higher? Because the way we are looking out on the field is not looking great. So why should we be higher than where we're currently ranked? I get Barron's coming back next week, but I am saying when it's looking at week 9, because this is the week 9 poll, I agree that Texas Tech should be at 12. I think, or 13. We are struggling. And I think everybody that is a Texas Tech student will say, or a Texas Tech fan will say we are struggling.
I'll say offense has definitely had struggles. I won't say we're struggling as a whole because special teams and defense did extremely well.
Yeah.
Even against ASU. I think the only reason we ended up losing was the fact that our defense was so gassed from having 15 extra minutes of being on the field versus our offense being on the field. And I think that's what killed us. Because, to be honest, we have one of those defenses that we could pretty much have an incompetent offense and we'll be fine. But we can't have as much of an incompetent offense to the point where we're pretty much having a quarter or less of time of possession on the field. Yeah. And, it's just hard to determine, obviously which team's better. Because if you put them on a neutral site field, right, and that's kind of like the main thing, like the main argument, like the CFP will use, which is put them on a neutral site field and see who's going to win. I think it'd be a very neck-to-neck game, and I honestly couldn't tell you who would, just because I know Notre Dame's got great depth, and so do we. But also, it varies because what point of the season are they in? Who's injured, who's banged up. Because if we had Barron against ASU, I think it's a whole different ballgame.
I'll agree. If we had Barron for ASU, I think we 100% win that one.
It's really tricky, and it's football, it's college football. No matter what, there's always going to be something that you could use as an argument against any team. Like all 25 teams right now on this poll, you could have like a reason to knock them down a notch or put them up a notch. You know what I mean? So you could say, realistically with Miami, right? I mean, outside of, let's see, who've they beat? Okay, Florida State, Notre Dame, and then Stanford. That Stanford win is going to look so deceiving in a few weeks when everyone forgets how that game really went. But yeah, I don't know. I think it's a really interesting topic, but that's about all I got for all that.
Yeah, like I said, that was the only thing I said to you at the time when you brought that up. Was like, I asked you straight up, do you think we should be ranked higher? And you said no. Because
I like where we're at right now.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think I feel like we talk about this every week about the Notre Dame. I feel like we should be above Notre Dame. We're not going to get into it like last time. I think we talked for like 20 minutes on why Notre Dame shouldn't be as high as they are. Yeah. So they've found a flaw in the system and they just kind of exploit it and they schedule their 2 good games early in the season. If they lose them, then they'll go and play UNLV week 8 or whatever, and they'll roll these teams and they'll look good, and then they don't have to worry about
Boston College on Saturday. Yeah, at Boston College.
Play whoever they want. So it's just something that doesn't make sense to me. But as a Tech fan, it doesn't really matter. You control your own destiny. You win the Big 12, and you go and win the Big 12 championship, and you're in. And you obviously these teams losing helps Tech, but it's not something that it really matters. So.
Hey, and for the people asking for a meet and greet, you guys can meet us at the Jones AT&T.
Dude.
Bro, they are in
the
chat. Jackson is in the chat asking where are we going to meet and greet? If so, where? Is it in AJ's room? Y'all can meet us at Jones AT&T next Saturday when we play BYU.
7 a.m.
Bro,
right on the dot.
I don't know if y'all have been seeing me just randomly start dying laughing. It's because I'm looking at the chat and what they're saying because I have it pulled up. That's why I told y'all to open the chat and just... You know what?
It's crazy. Hey, I want to ask y'all, obviously, one of the biggest topics of this weekend being the Brian Kelly departure from LSU. Something that I think was bound to happen here pretty soon. I never really liked the hire of Brian Kelly to LSU. I thought culturally it didn't really fit. We saw a lot of clashes over the past few years with him and like former players. And, Malik Neighbors, he was very expressive this morning about how he felt with Brian Kelly's departure. For everybody that may not know, want some context, let's just say rocks were kicked and story was deleted. So, but I just want to get y'all's opinion on, Brian Kelly, now gone and out as LSU's head coach.
He's done forever.
Whoa, jeez, okay.
I can see a TV thing. I can see a TV thing almost, because I feel like
straight into it. He's gone. He's done. Have a good one.
He doesn't have the personality for TV. No, Brian Kelly being gone, I'm glad. I've never liked this league, especially at Notre Dame.
Oh, I agree.
Cocky, arrogant, everything. I think he's schematic wise, he's a decent coach. I don't think he fits the LSU brand. I don't think he fits the system. I could see him in a Group of 5 school though.
Yeah. I don't think his ego would let him though. That's the problem. You know what I mean? Because besides his early 10 years when he was at Central Michigan and then Cincinnati, and then he went to Notre Dame. I mean, yeah, there's a lot we could get into with him, but culturally, I think was the biggest thing that killed him. I don't know if y'all have seen a lot of the stuff with a lot of players and their posts with Brian Kelly, or not the lack of posts about Brian Kelly since he got fired. I also want to ask y'all too, and I think this is the biggest question because arguably this is the biggest head coaching gig now, in my opinion, especially with the amount of money and the political support that LSU gets from the state of Louisiana. I think this would be, a good little thing to ask. Who are y'all's early candidates for this LSU gig?
Kenny Dillingham.
I can see that. Yeah.
Depending on what happens the last week of the season, Ryan Day.
Isn't he an Arizona State alum though?
Yeah, it'd be hard to get him from there.
Look, it's LSU. If you look at historically, and the football program itself, look at LSU, man. Like that's a
Yeah,
place historically. It's a blue blood. Arizona State, I know what they're building there is special. Right. Brent Key, I think his first name is Brent. Georgia Tech's coach. That's potential. I mean,
I'm big
we're
on
saying
I'm big
Lane
on
Kiffin.
Brent Key. I love Brent Key.
Lane Kiffin's gonna stay at Ole Miss. Hey, Eric Morris.
All right. One gig I was thinking AJ for him would be the Arkansas job, if anything. You know what I mean? Like region wise, in terms of recruiting and everything.
Yeah.
I feel like he would fit pretty well. But yeah, I agree with
I
the
see
Kenny Dillingham. Oh my bad.
John.
Yeah.
Quarterback.
Yeah. That would be an interesting one. I just wonder how because like all the stuff that happened with his coaching career and also him being with Barstool right now, like contractually, I wonder how that would work. But I think that'd be fun. I would love to see John Gruden down there in the Bayou. That would be that'd be Coach O, but on steroids, pretty much. And then, like, in my opinion, a better football coach, right? I mean, you're getting a guy that's won a Super Bowl, a guy that's been a proven winner. Obviously, there's the off the field stuff that I know would maybe kind of keep them away from that. But I mean, overall, if you want a guy that's proven he's a winner and a guy that can develop guys, and a guy that I know players love playing for, and you're LSU, and I think you would have a pretty decent price tag considering you still have got to pay $50 million to Brian Kelly by 2031. I think that would be the most reasonable, like price range wise. The only thing with Kenny Dillingham, and Sam, you said it, him being an alum of ASU and kind of that loyalty almost to the program, I think it would cost a lot of money, like upwards of what Lane Kiffin's probably going to get from Ole Miss for him to leave Tempe. But yeah, there's a lot of AJ. I know you don't really like keep up too much with like head coaches and whatnot throughout college football, but
definitely.
if you had to kind of pick one.
My joke one, and this is just to be funny. Depending on what happens the last week, I'm going Ryan Day. Because if he doesn't beat Michigan, he's gone. You gotta beat Michigan. Okay, but no. But
We gotta let Sam rebuttal.
Oh my
Sam's
goodness!
barely been able to
Right,
talk.
dude, they
but we gotta
lost to
listen.
Michigan last year, and they went to win. You just won the national championship, and you might fire the guy.
Yep.
Nick Saban has a better chance of becoming an LSU
Sam,
coach
honestly,
than Ryan Day.
Sam, do you know how much Ohio State hates Michigan?
I can see Urban Meyer taking the job too.
That's another one I don't think people are thinking about, and I kind of forgot about too. I'm glad you mentioned that, Sam.
Urban Meyer back.
You think a little reunion at Florida?
Yeah.
That seems pretty reasonable. They love him down there. I mean,
I can't believe what I just heard though.
I'm joking.
Ryan Day gone.
I was joking. But I mean, to a certain level, I know
you better have been, man.
There is some OSU fans that are saying to get rid of Ryan Day.
Y'all just won the national championship.
The Ohio State fans might be the most delusional fans in the world.
Buddy,
If that's
that Michigan 4 straight losses to Michigan actually does piss people off. Like losing to Michigan 4 straight years in a row does make the OSU alumni mad. And they will drop him just because he won't win
the national championship.
Guys, which one of us is the Ohio State fan realizes how much Michigan hates or the hatred?
I don't care who we lose to if you go on to win the national championship.
I'll cheer for Ohio State because my grandpa went there.
Yeah, I know.
I'm not a fan, but I like Ohio State. I don't want Ryan Day gone.
Again, I'm not even saying this seriously. This was a joke. Like you guys have taken this to a whole new level. I was saying it as a joke because
you were serious, and now you're going back on it.
No, I wasn't being serious, but I am saying, could I see OSU fans being pissed? Yes. There is a 100% chance that some of these fans will go into the chat and just say they hate Ryan Day because he can't beat Michigan. That game means more than what you guys really believe. But
yeah, I get that.
That's the only reason
that aspect. But also at the same time, you got to be rational, at least nowadays with college football, because rivalries don't mean as much as they used to, and I hate saying that. Yeah. But in terms of like now the expanded college football playoff and everything like that, for example, OSU lost 2 regular season games last year, and they ended up winning the Natty. So I think it'll be interesting. I pray for your like mental sake, AJ, that they do win. but I do see a reality where somehow they pull a Ryan Day Ohio State game again, and that's their one flaw.
I
It's
think
it's the one thing he's proven he can't do. But I don't know. I can't really speak on it because
Like,
I don't really care about either program.
the
But
thing is, the boosters could be the ones that pull it. Is what I'm saying. Is like the boosters may say we're not
Yeah.
funding until Ryan Day either beats Michigan or he's gone.
I think
That's
the only way
that's the
that
only.
he
And
gets
again,
fired,
like this was a joke. It was not supposed to be serious.
yeah,
But
no,
the only
but
reason,
I think
the only one I will say, I was just watching a video on it was Sam Houston State's old coach, Casey Keller. He's now over at Temple. If he wants to go into the Power Fours, he has the track history of doing well at the whole region of Texas and Louisiana, recruiting for Sam Houston. What happens when he finally gets a top job, if he wants a top job? But I don't know enough about coaches like Mason when you were saying earlier. So I won't speak too much, but I only know a little bit on that because I was watching a video about the rise of Sam Houston.
No, I love that you pointed that out though, because I've seen him. I mean, I don't think he'll end up getting as big of a gig as that. I think it'd be a lower P4, kind of like a no shade at Houston, but like a Houston level job before he goes to like an SEC, like that level. But he's Temple's actually, I mean, they're not great, but considering how bad that program's been,
And this is his first year.
Now?
It's his first year over there.
Yeah, they're 5-3. I mean, and their 3 losses are to pretty decent teams. I mean, OU, they put 24 on Georgia Tech somehow.
Like he won the SES in 2020. Got a good recruiting class. Almost won champions last year? CUSA.
I mean, he pretty much single-handedly brought Sam Houston to the FBS level. And if you look at Sam Houston right now and currently where that program's in, their state, they probably would be back in FCS if there was, like we've talked about, like a relegation system. But anyway, we'll keep rambling about that. What else y'all want to talk about? Anything specific y'all feeling?
I know Sam wants to head out of here. I know that for a fact. Sam's got to go join his 2K.
Dude, it's serious.
I'm aware.
Yeah, dude, the grind never stops.
Yeah,
we can do another show. Later in the week, talking before the K-State Tech game.
Yeah,
for sure.
We usually like to do a preview on Fridays, so be ready for that.
Yeah. But,
Anything
else? And we got a good baseball game going on right now. Last I knew was going to extras.
Yeah, they're going into the 11th now, I believe.
Going into the 11th.
What's the series right now? Is it 1-1?
1-1. Yeah, it's exciting. So I'm gonna.
And it's been a great series. Like I get it's 1-1, but it's like games have been fun to watch.
Yeah, no, it's good. It's the Toronto Blue Jays, America's team. So.
Yeah. Canadian team's the American team.
I can't stand the Dodgers, so.
I can't stand the Dodgers either.
But, all right. Well, appreciate everybody tuning in I
just saying.
Appreciate everybody tuning in this week. We'll go ahead and call it here. Tune in Friday for the preview versus K-State and whatever else we want to talk about. Upcoming schedule for, what are we, week 10 now? Is that what I saw?
Yeah, we're week 10.
Yeah.
We're literally last quarter of the year or the season.
We're at the point now where everything's going to start mattering. So.
Yeah.
All right. Well, appreciate everybody tuning in. Y'all appreciate y'all showing up.
I'll see y'all.
Everybody have a good one.